Hey, family, welcome to the channel, Celebrity Scandalous. Thank you for joining me tonight. This is going to be a quick live, but there's so much going on with this Diddy case. I mean, honestly, I've been trying to think of what can I talk about? What can I talk about? I can't even focus because there's so much information coming down the pike and so many people are covering it. It's just so much, right? I mean, it's like, honestly, this Diddy situation could be this actually could be something that we could be talking about for months. There's so many layers to it. Diddy has been in the industry for so many years. There's so many scandals and things are just starting to come out. I was on Reddit earlier today and people were talking about what he allegedly did to Usher back in 2013. I mean, this stuff has been on the internet. I don't know why it's laid dormant for so long. I mean, of course, people talked about it, but it's almost just like the floodgates have been open after Cassie filed her complaint, and now everybody's talking about it. And so, what I wanted to talk about is let me see it. Let me put this banner up. I'm gonna just put the picture up. And you guys have to bear with me because I am still getting my skills together in terms of learning how to navigate on here. So what I wanted to talk about was Puffy and his history of wanting to take other men's women, girlfriends, woman, however you want to say it. In case y'all didn't know it, oh, let me take this off too. I got to take this comment down so you guys can see it just in case you don't see it. If you see Tupac right in the corner right there, y'all know who that is, right? That's Sarah Chapman, Puffy's baby mama. She dated Tupac before she got with Puffy. So you know he knew about her. I mean, of course, all of these ladies kind of run in the same circles, but even at that, why would Puffy make her one of his, like a baby mama after she was with Pac? Oh, we know why. Because he always wanted uh to have one up on his ops. So I mean, this goes way back to the East Coast West Coast rivalry. Sarah Chapman was dating Tupac, and I believe this is like this is like early 1990s, before like 1995. And it sounds like, from what I've been reading, that Sarah was actually somebody that, they were really serious, and I mean, who knows? I mean, he ended up dating Quincy Jones' daughter. But at that time, he was they, the reports and the rumors is that he was really into Sarah. So Puffy and Suge Knight, they knew everything about each other. Now, the other thing is that before the beef really started with the East Coast, West Coast, Suge Knight and Puffy were actually kind of cool friends. I mean, all of these guys were friends, Pac and Biggie, everybody. And that was my time, right? Because that's when I was listening to the music. We didn't have the internet like this, but of course, we would have our publications, Right On Magazine, all that stuff. And, people would just talk, and we would go to Vegas to the parties and, the big fights, Mike Tyson, everything. So, we would hear some of these celebrities would show up there. Like, I've seen Naomi Campbell. I've seen so many people, Don King, all of those people would be there. So you would see, I never saw Tupac though. I am from Oakland, and I know people that, allegedly know him. Everybody from Oakland knows somebody that knows Tupac, right? But, Pac he had a lot of different women. He had women in the Bay. He had women in Marin, right across the Bay. I mean, he was just popular like that. Vegas, Los Angeles. But Sarah, yeah, she was one of the ladies that people that, she was one of the ones that was a girlfriend. And there, you don't see a lot of pictures of them because, again, it was back in the day. So you don't see as many photos like you would now. Like if they were dating, it'd probably be a litany of pictures. So, okay, so why? So Puffy ends up dating Sarah. Now, this was after, you know what? I should have checked. I should have done a date check. But I mean, it's years after Pac died, but still, he knows because Sarah, Misa, all of those ladies were friends. They all knew each other. It's like they swim in the same pool, Like if you see my my screen, it says OPP, other people's property, other people's punani. It's like, come on now. So Diddy ends up having a baby with Sarah, which is first Tupac's girl. Some people were saying, they got it twisted, saying that, oh, Pac, stole, Pac slept with Diddy and Biggie's girl, because it's a rumor that Tupac allegedly slept with Faith Evans, but no, that's not the case. Tupac was with Sarah Chapman first. So he has a baby with Sarah. Okay, so that's kind of odd to me. Like, y'all were ops. Like, why would you even want his sloppy leftovers? You know what I'm saying? There's too many other women in this world. Like, how do they always end up with the same chicks? So we're gonna move past that. So now, I mean, everybody knows what he did. Everybody knows that he pretty much went to Kim Porter from Al B. Sure. I mean, everybody knows that. And that's a really sad story, because I feel like he overtook Quincy. Like, allegedly he became Quincy's dad. He adopted him. I don't know if it's an official adoption, but he just kind of came in, and it looks like they pushed Al B. Sure out of the way. Now, there are some people who counter that and say, no, Al was a deadbeat dad. He didn't want to have anything to do with his son, and he just let Puffy come in and take over. But I don't believe that. Now that we're finding out how dangerous Puffy was and everything that he did, and as powerful as he was at the time, listen, if he told that man to shut up and sit down, and remember, Puffy was a record exec by then. He had, like, I forget the label. I should have my notes in front of me, but at that point, Puffy was making power moves, right? He already had Bad Boy Records and everything. He already had established himself. So if he wanted Al B. Sure's career to be over, which it pretty much ended anyway, he was going to be done. So I understand how Al B. Sure just kind of went to the corner and really didn't, fight for his rights. I mean, you don't hear a lot of information about what actually occurred, but it's sad because Quincy, I believe in 2016, he penned a letter to his dad, saying that he missed his father, and, talked about their relationship. And it was really kind of sad, because everybody was getting on Al, talking about, you're a loser, deadbeat, you should have been in your son's life, all sorts of negative things. But now, with the way Puffy was connected, what the hell could he have done? I mean, they talking about BMF ties and, the Black Mafia fan. I mean, it's just so much. His connections with these gangs and affiliations and alleged unaliving of people. I mean, hell, I would have been scared too. So now, it's just like, okay, so now it all makes sense. We also know that Kim Porter, she tried to leave Diddy tons of times. We're finding out, Gene Deal talks about it all the time. I have an old video. I've deleted a lot of videos, but where he actually broke her nose. If you look at this picture here, this is when Kim was very young, when she was with Al B. Sure, before she was with Diddy. If you look at her, man, you guys got to give me a second, because I really want to pull up a picture. Right before she died, I think like when she's in her 40s, late 30s and 40s, you can see that her face changes. And, they're saying that's because when they were on that trip on the boat, that Diddy allegedly broke her nose. I mean, this has been reported tons and tons of times. It's not even a secret anymore. It's been out there that he literally broke her nose. And when I tell you it changed, it really did change her face. If you look at some of her old pictures, you can see the difference. Let me see if I could find one really quickly. And the funny thing about it is, because I was looking at, I was used to do videos about them a lot right when she passed, right? And so I was looking at her face, and I wasn't trying to be rude or anything, but I was like, okay, here's a picture right here. Let me see if I could pull this one up. I wasn't trying to be funny or anything, but I was like, so I just noticed something had changed. Let me see if let me go there. You guys got to bear with me. I'm trying to learn how to use this thing. Share, present. Let's see, present, share screen. Okay. You guys let me know if you could see it. Please let me know in the chat if you could see it. Okay, now I gotta take now. See, this stuff is so complicated. Well, it's not really complicated. It's just like, man, okay. So if you look, and let me see if I can enlarge it a little bit. Let me see. Let me see if I can make it bigger. Um, if you really look closely, dang, and I'm not even making it, I'm not making it bigger for you guys. Okay. Look at this right here, her nose, and maybe that's not a good angle, but her nose, you can almost see she had to have, the reports are that she had to have plastic surgery um to get her nose reconstructed. And as the years went on, you can just see the change. I mean, this is, if you look at some of her profile pictures, and if you just look at multiple pictures, you will definitely notice, even on this picture when she was, I think this is before he broke her nose. The woman was gorgeous. I mean, she was a model and everything. So, I mean, she was definitely pretty, but it's crazy because that's how dangerous Diddy was. So, if he's breaking people's noses, carrying pow pows, I just feel like Albie Shore just was, really, what could he do? It's like you really you can't really go up against Diddy. Like your career is over, and then he's so violent, gang related, gang affiliated. What you gonna do? Nothing. And then there was let me go back to this banner so I could show the other one. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. Bear with me. Bear with me. Um, and then there's the last one. So I wanted to talk about her now. This is Daphne Joy. Now, most of you guys know, if you follow all of this pop culture, Daphne was just named in as one of Diddy's ex-workers, right? With Carisha, Young Miami. And so now, if you look, who is Daphne with? 50 Cent. So now it all makes sense. Okay, so for years, the rumor was that Diddy and 50 were ops because 50 accused him of unaliving Biggie. I mean, and that started, I guess, probably he made that statement around the early 2000s, right? So I don't know what their relationship was like, in New York, because, both of them were from New York. So I know their paths crossed all the time. But apparently 50 made this statement publicly. And after that, they always had bad blood. Now, 50 also says that, Diddy was always kind of shady, and, he would call him kind of, not my words, so please don't jump on me, but fruity. You know how they make those comments about gay guys, straight guys try to make them little comments, right? And so, he talks about the fact that Diddy had offered to take him shopping, and he was like, dude, take me shopping. Are you crazy? Like, men don't do that, right? So, of course, he didn't go. But now what we're finding out, like, I never made the connection. I remember like a few years ago seeing it said something like 50 Cent's ex with Diddy, but it just didn't register, right? No big deal. But now it makes sense why 50 is so angry. Everybody's always saying, oh, 50 just being so petty with Diddy. 50 hates Diddy. Now, Diddy, I feel like Diddy dislikes 50 Cent just because he's always on him and making them comments about him, And of course, they're rivals in terms of being in the rap game. But 50 hates Diddy. I mean, if you look at all the comments he makes on, like, he's always trolling this guy. I mean, it's beyond belief at this point. But now it all makes sense. It's because Diddy, and now here's the thing. I really don't think, the only person that I think Diddy took their girl from, because they were together at the time, was Albie Shore. That because he was actually with Kim Porter. They were dating when Diddy came in. They had already had their baby and everything. So Diddy came in and kind of broke that relationship up. Now with Sarah Chapman, Pac was already gone, but still, that was still one of his rivals. And then with 50, of course, they had broken up for sure, but still, it's just the fact of, why would you go behind 50? You hate this man. It's so many other women in the world, right? So that's crazy. It's just like when you read all of the if you read the complaints about him, and you read, like, there's more and more people coming out with stories about him. Kim Porter was saying that he was very intrusive when she tried to break up with him. There's also a story. Oh, I don't know if you guys know about this one. The Stewart guy that allegedly he may have had something to do with. Let me see if I could pull that up. She was dating him. Here we go. Shakir Stewart. Let me see. Okay, Shakir Stewart. Let me pull his picture up for those of you who may or may not know. So Kim was dating him at one point, right? And so the story has it that he allegedly committed, unalive himself, but that's the wrong one. Let me see. You guys, y'all got to be patient with me. Give me a second. The story was that he unalived himself, but before that happened, Diddy had been making threats and they had some physical altercations. Okay, so you can see it. That's him. His name is Shakir Stewart, and he was a record exec at the time. And so, and he was from Oakland as well, record exec and everything. And so he was dating Kim Porter. And here's some more information. I'll just read what it says about him. Shakir Stewart, a native of Oakland, was a U.S. record executive in a number of companies, the latest being Def Jam. At the time of his death, he was the senior vice president of Island Def Jam Music Group and the executive vice president of Def Jam. And he passed in 2008, and he was 34 years old. Okay, so there's this whole rumor, the allegations that Kim was sneaking and seeing him, and Diddy had threatened her because by then I believe they had already had, one of the kids, the oldest son. Diddy had told her to leave this guy alone, right? He threatened him, he threatened her. He was always in their business. And so the rumor is that he got so stressed out that he, unalived himself in his home. And so, I mean, you kind of, we're putting a lot of stuff on Diddy because they're saying, the weapon was found at the house and everything. But before he did it, they're saying that his behavior had gotten very strange. I mean, I feel like you can put something in somebody's, you can do certain things or give them drugs or whatever to kind of make them kind of go off. So I don't know, but everybody is saying Diddy had a hand in it. Now, how it happened, I don't know. The wife was there, because he was married at the time. The wife was there, and she's saying that he did it, but who really knows what really happened? Diddy is so powerful. He has so much money. That could have been a setup, and just like this latest incident they have with him and Justin, where the guy they allegedly or something happened in the bathroom with the pow pow. How do we know that he didn't, excuse me, convince the wife to say, he could have scared the bejesus out of that woman where she said, oh yeah, we were home alone. This is what happened. Who knows? You just don't know with Diddy, right? It's just so many unanswered questions. It's just so many things. But that situation, that's another one where Diddy came in and just kind of, he didn't take her from him, but just where he's so controlling, like these women could never escape him. Another thing that I noticed, so if you notice, Kim Porter, Sarah, and his first baby mama, Misa, they all knew each other, right? And if you look at pictures around their Christmas times, they celebrate together, right? And I was like, well, damn, you will see all of them. They talk about how they would come to the compound and be celebrating with Diddy for Christmas. He would have all his baby moms together. And so for years, everybody just thought it was one happy family. And I always wondered, like, wow, how does this man have these women be so cool with each other? Because you go on social media, you will go on IG and you will see a cat fight every day. Baby mamas are not getting along. I mean, he didn't marry none of them, but they were all baby mamas. And so I was wondering, and I said, well, it must be the money. He must be paying them off real well. And the other thing that we found out, if you do some research, is once you're involved with Diddy, oh baby, he expects you to be alone forever. He can move on and sleep with other people, but not you. For whatever reason, he does not. He feels like he owns you forever. The women, and he's going to control you forever. And he won't move on. But I was always wondering, like, how are these ladies getting along so well? Well, now what we're starting to learn is that he used fear and intimidation. It's alleged that he also would, put pause on, you got to say the right words for YouTube so you don't get dinged, that he would put pause on Misa as well. And now we're hearing that he may have been a little rough with J-Lo, right? Now, when he was dating J-Lo, that was a big, that was a big story back in the day when it broke him. Like I said, we didn't have the internet and all this stuff. So I think most of it was like in the newspapers and everything. And we would see it on like Entertainment Tonight. And the rumor was that J-Lo did have the pow pow in her, purse or however she was carrying it. But now, again, all of this is starting to make sense. Even that dress that she wore to the Grammys that year, if you guys go back, let me see. I keep trying to show different pictures, which I should probably just stay on task. But let me see. It's also been rumored that Diddy made her wear that dress. It was a beautiful dress too. I mean, I also think that that dress, her being with Diddy. Can you guys see this dress? Like back in the day, like this back then, when she first wore that dress, it was like that's all everybody was talking about. Let's see, what year was that? That was in. They're saying 2020, but that's what. Okay, it says Jennifer Lopez wore this jungle green gown to the 2000 Grammys. So many people went online to search photos of her in it. It spurred internet giant Google to create its now familiar image search feature. Okay, so that was early 2000s, right? So what we're hearing now is that Diddy had her wear that dress, which that was a great decision, because after that, she became known as a fashionista and everything, and her career really started taking off. But it was just like Diddy just had this control over these women. I thought that they were just that in love with this man, but now I'm finding out that he was definitely a monster. It was not necessarily love. Like, he just had mind control over these women. He thought that his money and power and influence, that he could do whatever the hell he wanted, and he did. So that was an interesting story. And then today, they've also told us, it has come out, Lord, now this one was a shocker to me, was about, let me see, Young Miami. Now they're alleging that Young Miami has been running, let's see, how can I get it up here? She has been accused of transporting cocaine for Diddy. So can you guys see that? Okay, yeah, it's on the screen. So it says Young Miami accused of transporting pink cocaine to Diddy in an updated court document. So basically there's one story, the Rodney guy who has the case against Diddy, who fought this new lawsuit against him. And this lawsuit, it sounds like it's the reason that they're actually, after Cassie filed her suit, or when she was going to sue him and they settled, there were all of these reports that there was a federal investigation going on. So initially that report came out on the news, and then there was a retraction. There was people on YouTube, and there was a news station that said, oh, we misquoted. There's not an investigation against Mr. Combs. That was a mistake. But, so they talked about the lawsuit. Well, Rodney, the guy who was suing, says that one time they were somewhere, they were taking flight somewhere, and that the guy who just got arrested yesterday, Paul, the one that they're calling his drug mule, Paul had forgotten to bring some of the the drugs. And so he had Young Miami fly on a PJ, the private jet, and bring the drugs to him. So now all of these women, and also, they're saying she was also a sex worker too. So all of these women that have been affiliated with him, now and this other young lady, Jade, I'm not that familiar with her. So it's Daphne, Young Miami, and Jade. And then there's just a lot of other women that have domestic charges against him, but these ladies have been named as paid ex workers. So a paid ex worker, in my estimation, is a prostitute. Okay, basically, that's what you're doing. They're saying that they would get other workers to engage in those FOs. They say the freak offs. So he was using them to do that. Now, when he was dating Young Miami, because he got her this show on, she was on Revolt, Carisha Please. Nobody had any idea. People were saying that she was only with him for the money, which that makes sense. I mean, she's a young woman. Of course, why else would she be with him, right? But now it started to make even more sense. She wasn't just with him for the money. This girl may have been actually working, doing that other stuff. And the pink other stuff that she was dealing with. She may very well, all of these women attached to him, just the same way Epstein, how that woman that they said assisted Epstein with bringing women to him and the kids and all of that stuff, Gazelle. I feel like some of these women that they're naming them in this lawsuit, or they're going to call them out and start trying to put charges on them, saying you were smuggling, drugs, or you were doing this, or you were an ex worker. And that's going to be how they're going to get these women to turn on Diddy. Now, a lot of people are saying that, oh, it's no way, he's too big to be taken down. And I don't even understand why people believe that, because Diddy has pissed off some powerful people when he launched that lawsuit, right? That about the liquor lawsuit. And so I feel like, no, he very well can be taken down. Like, nobody is too big to be brought down, especially if you have pissed people off. It's like, stay in your lane, stay in your place. Uncle Luke came out and was saying, let me see if I could pull that one up. I don't know if you guys heard him. He was talking about it, saying basically that Diddy, you did a little bit too much. Okay. You did a little bit too much. Let me see. What he was saying made a lot of sense. And that's why I think, okay, so Uncle Luke, let me see if I could find that video. Oh, I don't want to do, no, that's not that. He did another interview where he was just basically saying that he didn't go to the Diddy parties.
When you go and you get these billions and you see them put you up on a pedestal, that's because they put you up on a pedestal. They made you the guy. They placed you on every network. They sold you to all y'all on here. They gave you 5 million followers. They put all this, they dress you up like a fucking hoe on the street. They gave you the Bugattis. They gave you the mansions on 2 different coasts. They put you up on a pedestal because they need you. It's like some pimp shit. When you got your main girl, you dress her up and she look like this and look like that and do this, and you march her into the big room. I'm telling you. So when they put you on that motherfucking pedestal, and then you start thinking it's about you, and you want to take over their shit, them people look back like this. Hold on, who the fuck you think he is? Oh, we'll show you better than we can tell you. Then they'll try to reason with you, and they'll talk to your manager, because your manager look like them. And they'll be like, hey, man, tell your man to chill out, And then the manager come in, and he trying to keep his job. Hey, guy, calm down. And then you go walk around like it's all about you. You got all the cars and the mansions and the jets and all the yachts and all. All this and all the people running around, you talking about, yeah. And now you want to fight. Now you want to bite the hand that feeds you. Don't your mama ever always tell you that? Your mama say, never bite the hand that feeds you. And so this is how the major corporations work when you try to come after them. Now you put a lawsuit in. Bam, lawsuit. Fuck that shit. I'm suing their ass. I'm take their company down. Fuck that shit. They taking my brand and my name and likeness and they making millions of dollars. I want out of this contract. And now, mind you, these people on the stock market, they stock go down 5%. That just cost them some billions. So they're looking at this motherfucker to the shareholders. This motherfucker is affecting our stock. They gotta hold on. You just fucked up some billions of dollars. These are major corporations that are on the stock market that you can affect their stock and cost them in one day billions of dollars by having their stock drop because your sneakers, you telling people you don't want them selling your sneakers. Or you don't want them they stealing money from you. Ain't.
Now I'm gonna pause it right there because this is a great example where he's talking about how, remember Kanye when he got into it was making those comments, those anti-Semitic comments, and how he got into some trouble in the whole Nike situation. You were talking about members of the board, and losing them money, and you're not bigger. All collectively, when you have board members, that's billions right there. That's billions, if you know anything about corporations. So a lot of these men, although they are the figureheads to us, we think they're rich. You got to look at the machine behind them. There's a machine behind them. Those companies are worth multi-billions, right? 150, 60. You are just you are the figurehead. You don't even have that much money or that much power to be acting the ass. So we're going to go back to listen to them again. Let me put myself on mute.
Paying you off the liquor. Them people like, hold the fuck on. Okay, get the lawsuit. Now, when you get the lawsuit, you got to go to the judge, state judge. They definitely own the state judge because they're going to buy up the number one law firm who put the most money into the state judge, into the local judge campaign to make him the local judge. Big bank take little bank. It goes back to CeeLo. The federal judge, they're going to then find out what senator and congressman that called the president to say, I need an appointment for my federal judge, because how do you get an appointment for a federal judge is because I'm a major donor. And hey, man, I got a friend of mine that's a judge, man, on the circuit level. Man, I would love for him to be a federal judge, and I'm going to max out in your campaign. Matter of fact, I'm going to generate a couple $100,000 or $1 million to put in your campaign. You win the seat. You then call up the president. President then say, hey, look here, man, nominate this motherfucker right here. So now you got a fucking judge in here. You got the state judge. So then now you black man who don't own these people company, you want to talk all your cash money shit. And you want to go after these people, what ends up happening? They start the smear campaign because they down with the media. They got to smear you before you go into the courtroom of your peers. They go, okay, we can't settle with this dude. We'll have no voice of reason. He want to act crazy. Now we're going to go after you. Now we're going to call up our same senator. Hey, man, I need you, man, go issue a search warrant, man. I need.
Isn't that kind of what they did to Michael Jackson? This whole thing about him being liking little people. And same thing with Prince, talking about the fentanyl and stuff. It's like anytime these artists try to stand up against these record labels, these executives, something weird happens. It's very rare that they grow old peacefully, right? Especially with this new regime. Like when we're talking about from the 70s on, like it started, I would say, in the late 60s. If you know anything about like the Janis Joplins and all of those people, like those record execs were giving those people, giving them drugs, and they would do the same thing that Diddy is doing, allegedly doing now. They would get tapes on them. They would feed them drugs. Clive Davis was ousted from the first record label that he worked at because he was indicted for literally giving the artists drugs. But anyway, let's go back to Luke.
Need you to drag this motherfucker. In the hood, that's what we call. I want you to drag his ass. I want you to have all kind of allegations. So by the time he come in this courtroom, he gonna wish we're gonna take every fucking dime you got. Because we made you. You didn't make us, God damn it. You fuck with my stock. You fuck with my money. You fuck with me. I'm gonna fuck with you. I'm gonna break your ass down to the lowest term. That's how this shit go, boss. So when you fuck with them people that put that bread in your pocket that made you, they're gonna take you down to the lowest terms. Sound like the movie Scarface. Bingo. That's how they do. So you go, they done smeared your name. By the time you get in the courtroom, you lost already because you're sitting up there with a jury looking at you like you're a fucking pedophile, and you probably ain't never touched a little girl in your life. And you're trying to sue this major corporation, this major respectable corporation, And they're going to say how many people they employ, how many people, and half the people on the jury drink their shit. Half of the people on the jury, children walking around with their paraphernalia on. You getting ready to sue them, and they'd have made you, through the media, they'd have made you a crazy man, and they'd have made you a goddamn pedophile. They'd have made you everything that you're not. I'm giving y'all some good shit today. Never bite the hand that feeds you. So now when you walk up in that room and you make the deal, you cut the deal with the devil, and then you got one motherfucker, he want to talk about everybody else who's still in the room. You know, that's why I be sitting there looking at that shit. I'm like, he telling on everybody. You know, because you in the room, you know this motherfucker run this motherfucker, that motherfucker run that motherfucker, you know. Now you really went rogue.
Okay, so I mean, he pretty much just gave us the game right there. You know, I don't know exactly if it was Diddy's lawsuit against that, the liquor company that started all of this, but if you are paying attention, all of his dirt, because just think about it. He was so well connected, and the people that he's like the figurehead for, the money, these corporations that he's affiliated with, they have people in government, they have people in these homeland security positions in these offices. I mean, we're all human. Everybody knows somebody, especially at that level. They could have shut all of this down. None of this had to come out. Cassie could have been paid before this hit the media, right? But the way it played out. And so, and another thing about it, your attorneys could even be working against you. I mean, it's all of it is plausible, right? Once they decide to take you down, they're going to take you down. Look at Jeffrey Epstein. Not only did they take him down, he was under, unalive yourself watch, and he still got unalived. Remember, they claimed that he did it himself. How can you unalive yourself when you under watch, right? Oh, because that black book that he had, that allegedly, that ledger with people's names and all of this stuff, the same kind of intel and information Diddy is allegedly having on other people to use for blackmail, Epstein had it as well. Even once he went to prison, you know, a lot of people got nervous because that ledger was still floating around. And then Giselle, because she was, she's had a lot of information, and everybody knows everybody's little secret, and nobody wants to be exposed. And so now that of course, he allegedly didn't cut a deal before he went in, but still nobody knows the day he's going to turn around and start talking. They've even said R. Kelly a couple years ago, and since he has been arrested and is in prison, we're starting to see other people, right, thrown into that pot. Now the next person that's coming at, the next person that they're saying, and I know we keep hearing this again and again and again, but it's Jay-Z. And I really do believe that's possible. 50 Cent has been riding Diddy forever. Now he has even come out and he's putting Jay-Z up there, like saying, oh, what's Jay doing? What's going on? And the reason people are saying this is because they know, the same way all of those rumors used to be, go around where people be laughing, hey, I don't go to a Diddy party, because they know what goes on. They know Jay-Z's a T2. Jay-Z was tight with Diddy. Jay-Z was tight with R. Kelly back in the day. They was all cut from the same cloth, all running these young women. Anytime you needed to get ahead or you wanted a record deal, as a woman, and well, it looks like the men too. See, we didn't really know what they were doing to the men, right? But now it looks like even if you are a straight man, in order to get a record deal, you gotta, swing both ways. If you wanted to get a record deal, you had to deal with them. And it looks like Jay-Z with Foxy Brown, Rihanna, all of his young people, like he had these young starlets. They're even alleging that he actually that he met Beyonce when she was about 16, 17, and that they possibly dated before she turned 18. These are all allegations and all rumors, but all of this stuff is going to start coming out on Jay-Z. It's bubbling up. It's bubbling up. Remember, Jay-Z was untouchable about let's say about 7 or 8 years ago. We all heard rumors. We saw the pictures. You would kind of hear just a little bit of stuff. And these stories about Kathy White, his mistress, that he allegedly unalive. But now, it's all it's on Instagram. It's all on Facebook. It's everywhere. It's not like you might catch it on Reddit or something. No, it's front page, front and center now. People are talking about it, and they're talking about having that young lady's case reopened, the Kathy White, the reporter who was going to interview her a week before her death. She has recently come forward and she's speaking out again. So she's reigniting it. Now, let me say this. Isn't it odd that all of a sudden, after Diddy goes through this, now that this reporter who's been sitting on this information for about 15 years, all of a sudden she comes forward and she's talking about, I want the case open again. I want Jay-Z to be investigated. We're going to find. Wait a minute, sis. About some years ago, you would have been scared to say that to Jay-Z. But you know why they're not afraid now? Because you got some big wigs backing you saying, nah, you got this information. You're good. We want you to do it. That's how they're able to get away with it. Because the people are turning on them. The people, the powers to be, are probably going behind the scenes. Oh, Cassie, those tapes? Because they all know what people do, right? Well, we know you've seen some things. Are you willing to such and such? Well, we can make a deal with you. That reporter coming out now, if she had done that 10 years ago, she wouldn't have a job. Remember when Wendy Williams was talking about Diddy and she lost her job back in the the late 1990s? You couldn't come out and say stuff like this about a Diddy or Jay-Z. But now anybody could do it. I mean, of course, we have to say allegedly. There's a fear of a lawsuit, defamation of character, but ain't nobody even worried about that right now. Because there's so much information, it's so much dirt. People are just coming forward and they just dropping dimes. So anyway, I'm going to stop right there. And tomorrow I want to delve into more of the Jay-Z, Foxy Brown, and why I believe Jay-Z is going to be in some trouble. And talk about him and Beyonce and, the allegations about the marriage and, how this is going to be an end of an era for them. It's unfortunate, but hey, if people are doing wrong stuff, hey, it's going to come out. But anyway, thank you for joining me. Please hit the like button. Thank you for next time. If y'all come, please leave some comments because the screen is just blank. But anyway, I appreciate you coming and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.